Hey everyone, welcome back to more Tales of Arise. BogMod here. We're chatting with everyone after our emotional moment with Shion after she was being a dum-dum.
After everything we just heard? How could I?
Fair enough.
Shion's had to deal with so much on her own. Even when we were all laughing and celebrating, she just kept quiet and didn't say anything. I thought she was keeping her distance because of her thorns. That it was because she didn't want to hurt anybody by getting too close. I just figured that that was the type of person she was, you know? But it turned out
I'm not sure how much this adds to the story. I mean, we're already kind of dealing with an enemy that,
herself for the greater good.
as far as we can tell, was unleashing apocalyptic doomsday weapons on the planet.
Anything to us about it.
And now we're like, oh, by the way, Shion's also a doomsday plot device.
How could I call her a friend and yet be so completely blind to everything she was going through?
I'm sure it made her happy, knowing you were there for her.
You really think so?
Yeah, I do. If she didn't think of us as friends...
She clearly got all worked up because of her feelings for you all.
You were a good friend to her before, and you'll be an even better one now.
Yeah, I really hope so. I want to be the best I can for her. When you think about it, we were all alone in our own way. But over time, we've all found ways to let each other into our lives.
Except you had Hoodle.
I hope Shion's able to do that one day too. No, I mean, I hope she's able to do that more. Lots and lots more.
Oh, look at how adorable Hoodle is.
It would be really nice if we could all just be there to support each other when it really counts. And forget about our grudges and pain.
Rinwell.
And then we'll chuck to Law.
Did you know?
You mean about Shion?
Yeah, I didn't have the slightest idea. I mean, every once in a while I thought something seemed a little off, but I never could have imagined.
I mean, the idea that she was losing control of her powers, or the thorns, seemed believable and hinted well enough. That it was actually a doomsday unleashing of death.
You? But you're the
Didn't
one
expect
always
it.
looking out for her, aren't you?
That's what I thought. But in reality, I didn't understand it all. What I thought was helping and being there for her was actually just driving her into a corner.
At least you figured it out in time, though, right?
I don't think we're out of the woods yet. But yeah, you're right. We brought her back from the edge, and we're going to stop those thorns from taking her. No matter what.
Yeah, with all of us together, there's nothing we can't handle. Shion, the world, we can save everyone. And I mean
except your dad, he's dead.
We, Alphen.
I know. No lone wolfing it.
Hey, you're the expert on what my dad would say. Do you think he'd pat me on the back or tell me off?
Zephyr, I don't think that he'd have that much to say.
Yeah, Alfred is not the expert on your dad.
And you've already made up your own.
He knew him for like a week.
I guess he couldn't say anything even if he wanted to.
Law.
Sorry. I guess those of us amongst the living have enough problems to deal with, don't we? We'll need all our strength to save Shion. I'll probably end up worrying again at some point, but I guess I'll think it over more then. That okay?
Yeah, I think it is.
The game has been complicated by its lack of observable time passing.
Hey, you doing all right?
I seem to cause nothing but worry.
So, okay. She was immortal.
As much
Why
as I try to look
and
like I have
how
things under control, everyone's still worried
did
about
she
me.
end up all crazy
You're not the only one.
in the fortress? Was it really just because she touched him
Do
and
you remember
flinched?
the first time you said I was your friend?
No. When was that? Sorry.
Also, follow-up question. How did anyone put her in that dress?
That's okay. It came so
If
naturally
anyone
to
who
you,
touched
I'm
her
not
would
surprised
horribly
you
get
forgot.
damaged.
I was different back then.
I guess he
The
could have,
Daemons were
because he
not
seems to
even
be able to
people
do it
me, and I knew I would always be alone.
and handle the pain.
But in that room with Deadheim, when you called me your friend, it just shattered the wall that I'd built up around me. Because until that moment, I'd only seen you as a means to an end.
Oh, I think it
thought
had
of you
changed
as a way
long
to
before
use the
that.
blazing sword and to obtain the Renis Alma. But after that day, one time became two. And before I knew it, you'd made a habit of calling me and Dohalim your friends. It didn't matter that we were Renans. You cared about us as you would any other people. Then, everyone else started to call me their
treated
friend
you
too.
based on your
To think of me as
actions
their friend.
instead of the
Before then,
reputation of your
I never even
people.
dreamed I could have that.
Racism is bad, everyone. Remember that.
I didn't want to die and lose you all. But I also didn't want to live if it meant you would all die.
Even
my
if in this
place.
case it is accurate to say that most Renans
Shion.
are horrible people.
But then I realized I'd only really been thinking of myself that entire time. After saying how I felt,
So again, this is like one of those
hearing what
weird
you all had to say,
kind of moments.
I finally understood that.
Because it seemed at first that, oh, she was doing this
Don't
for,
worry, it's
you know,
okay.
for an understandable,
I'm
if
not
selfish
planning on dying
reason.
anymore.
She wanted to get rid of the thorns so she could have
I've
normal
met too
contact
many
again.
people along the way who I truly care about. to
now-
give in now.
It turns out she was always a good person,
So
and
I'll
she wanted to
fight.
get rid of the thorns to
For Dana and
save
for myself.
existence.
I'll fight against my fate to preserve our future. And I'll win, come hell or high water. I don't know how we're going to do it, but I won't let the world end because of me.
So she always
It's
cared.
going to be a long, hard road ahead, Shion. Our fight won't be over until everyone, both Danans and Renans, can finally live in peace. But I swear I'll be there with you until the very end.
So the thing is, there's got to be some need that the Renans have for the
Remember
planet.
what we learned back in Calaglia?
So I'm curious to know
There's no wall so high that we can't
what the
break
need
it
of the
down.
Renans is going to be to excuse all
Yeah.
this, and how it
I
will
think
be
you may
resolved,
right about that.
so that they don't have to do all these things. Because that's the only real reason there can be, they can achieve their peace. All right, got the party
Everyone
back.
Then let's go. We depart for Lenegis.
Time for space.
Well,
I've seen
it's the
better
moment of
starships.
truth.
This lady better hold together once we're up in the air.
Law, don't say that. You're going to jinx us.
Speaking of which, Alphen, this bucket of bolts got a name?
A name? You know, I'm not sure she ever had one. I never really thought about it.
Well, after all the trouble we went through to find her, we should give her one, right?
Law,
I was
you
thinking
are not
something
from a
like
culture
All
that
night.
does boats
It means
and
owl in the
names
ancient
and naming
tongue.
of them.
Literally, the one drawn to the skies.
Now, Rinwell, I can see Rinwell
I like
with
it.
with her ancient
Sounds perfect for
understanding
our
of the
little
past. But the rest of you, no.
Not
Well,
sure
maybe,
I'm
actually, no.
completely
Alphen,
convinced,
maybe.
But, well, it's as good a name as any. From now on, she'll be known as the Fall Knights.
Okay, people. We have two goals. First, we need to get to Lenegis and make the Renans finally leave Dana alone. And then, we need to figure out the truth behind Shion's thorns and find a way to save her. Sound good? All right. Then let's go.
Yeah. That should have been better done by Rinwell. Rinwell could have said, hey, in ancient times, people named their boats, the ships, yada, yada, yada. We should name it. Cleaned up nice. Real nice. Again, Law has such a weird character for me in this game.
You know, I can still hardly believe it.
Believe what?
That you're in
Just
space?
look at it. The whole of existence crammed inside a tiny frame.
Now that you mention it, I guess you're right. It does look more like a painting than a living, breathing world.
From up here, all the struggles we've been through feel so insignificant.
Nothing like realizing how small you are to put everything into perspective. Kinda makes the differences between the Renans and the Danans feel pretty small too, huh?
How much longer until we reach Lenegis?
There are better ways to use your time than napping. We should take a moment to familiarize ourselves with the facilities on board before arrival.
Not a bad
Good
idea.
The starship may end up serving as our base of operations once we're down there. Think you'll be alright with the controls?
You mean the one set to automatic pilot? I dare say I'll manage. I'm basically just here to supervise.
Alright.
In that case, she's all yours.
I feel like maybe familiarizing yourself with the ship could have been done
Okay, Shion? You seem a little
before.
different.
Different? Like in a bad way different?
No, not at all. You seem more driven lately, like you found a zest for life. It suits you.
Since last night.
We'll be going to Lenegis soon.
There's a
This
lot
must
of
feel like a
lot of
home
talking
of sorts to you, huh?
in this short chunk of
What
the
was
story.
life on Lenegis like back then? You know, before you came to Dana.
Let's just say I don't have many happy memories. I've had thorns my whole life, for as long as I can remember. They called it treatment, but in truth, they were just using me as a guinea pig for their research.
You mean they experimented on you?
Gasp!
That's right.
You mean
All I
that
was
thing
doing
that
was a
I
real
went
assault.
through
They
and
poked and
thousands
prodded
of
me,
my own people
trying to
did?
figure out what triggered my thorns or changed the form they took. Day in and day out, every single day, one test after another. I'm still surprised they didn't try to
I am too,
dissect me.
especially since you're
The
immortal.
look they gave me whenever one of them touched my skin. How could I forget it? Reeling from the pain, like I was a monster or something.
But they were the
Some
real
existence,
monsters.
huh? A blight on any I touched, helplessly complicit in their pain. I thought things couldn't get any worse, but then they did. I started to have nightmares, visions of the coming apocalypse. Is it any wonder I lacked a cheery disposition? Unable to so much as touch another soul. Loneliness was my best friend. Sure, I survived.
Loneliness
with the knowledge that one day
is a
I'd be
terrible
swallowed
friend.
up by oblivion. And that's when it hit me. If I was going to die, then it should mean something. If I have to sacrifice myself to save the world, so be it.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you relive that.
No, it's fine. I'm in a much better place now.
You say it's your destiny to die so that others can live. But why not the other way around? Why shouldn't we be the ones dying to save you?
Are you crazy? Why would you sacrifice your life for...
That's exactly my point. Why should you have to give up your life just because you drew the short straw in the destiny stakes? How is that even right?
I mean, often,
that logic?
you haven't pulled a very long straw
As if
yourself.
some of us were just meant to be sacrificed. This struggle was never about saving only ourselves. But that doesn't mean we have to give up our own lives to save everyone else's either. If we're doing this to protect people, if we're doing this to save the world from destruction, then that has to include saving each other as well.
A world free of sacrifice. That's what you've been fighting for all along,
I-
isn't it?
Don't know if that's true.
Not just me. We're in this together, remember? This fight is yours too, Shion. If we're going to win, everyone has to win. There can be no room for losers in this fight. Now I see it. The true nature of our struggle.
A victory without losers. But that means that a Danon victory over Rena can't be the end. Do you think we can pull
Again,
it
like,
off?
his little speech here kind
You
of contrasts
can pull it
against the
off.
very start of the
We
game,
have to. It's
which
the
was
only
explicitly,
hope we have
alright,
of
here's the
things
plan.
ever changing.
We're gonna sacrifice a bunch of our
No
guys
one's ever changed the
in
future
attacks
without
to
aiming
distract
for the
them while
stars.
you take out the head.
We can do this. Together.
Is something wrong?
No.
I mean, I don't think their plan would have worked if he'd refused to be like, no, we can't sacrifice anybody.
You mean since you became a lord?
No sacrifices.
I guess even someone like you can get homesick, huh?
I am as prone to sentimentality as any other. Tell me, though, you too have a history with Lennigus. A traumatic one, no less. This trip will probably mean facing up to some difficult emotions. Doesn't that
Alright, so
frighten you?
if I got to rate the characters at the moment, if I had
It
to.
is a place where I took the lives of countless people.
Cassara's at the top.
I'd be lying
I'd
if I
probably
said
put
I had it all
Dohalim
done.
second.
But I can't keep running forever. The past is what it is. There's no changing that. But the future's
Rinwell,
what we
you're
make
probably
it.
third.
I
Alphen,
see.
you're fourth.
Dohalim?
Shion, you're fifth, I guess.
I was wrong to pry.
Lost
We
six.
have more pressing matters to address.
And it's not like
Come back
a
and speak to me when you
like you
finish
shouldn't
looking
take
around the
that,
ship.
you know, Shion being fifth means I think she's horrible. Just I like the others a little more. Law, just so complicated your situation. All right, so we have a dining table with a thing. I have no idea what that is.
Hey, Alvin, listen to this. So Law and I were just talking, and
Hey, shut up!
What's got Law all flustered?
only that he's afraid of flying, the big baby. And after all that fuss he made about naming the ship, too.
Hey, I never said I was scared. I just think it's, you know, a little unsettling how we're going to be cruising through space in a glorified tin can.
You know what?
That's-
I sympathize with
Dummy.
his
That's what
feelings.
it's supposed to do. I don't think
It's
there's anything
300
strange about
years
it.
old. It sat
maybe you're the one with the
outside
problem, then.
by a volcano.
Guys, I'm no expert, but I think we can trust Renan technology. It got me to
His
Danon in one piece,
worries
remember?
are legitimate.
Oh, that's a good point. If you think so, Alvin, it must be okay. Don't you agree,
Oh,
Law?
stop picking on the poor
Hard to
guy.
argue with that, seeing how you hitched a ride in one of these things before, Alphen. It's just wrong, okay?
Stop picking on the poor guy. Alright, so we got a thing. That'll how we get inside. And then we've got a thing. That's a meaningless thing. And we got another meaningless thing. Okay. And then we've got a Cassara in a sleeping tubes, I guess.
You okay? Feeling airsick?
Actually, now that you mention it, not at all. These starships are a
right, so,
remarkably smooth ride, all things
I'm trying to
considered.
imagine
Nothing like
Alphen's
sea,
situation,
thank
then,
goodness.
right?
Glad to hear it. That device there cut your
300
arm.
years ago,
I was just wondering what it is. It looks big enough to fit a person
he
inside
gets
of it.
put into one of
It's
these.
a healing pod.
Yeah.
It fixes injuries and illnesses.
And I assume can keep people
Oh,
in
you don't
stasis.
say. Well, that should definitely come in handy
And then-
if any of us get injured while we're down there. Alphen? Was it something I
He
said?
walked through the volcano. He woke
I was
up,
just thinking back to
left
when
the
I
ship,
escaped
right?
Lennigus.
Found his way to a control panel,
What with
opened the ship
ceremony
up,
and
got
losing
outside, closed the ship.
It's a total mess. Naori laid me inside here.
So, you're saying you got in this thing straight after escaping? But that mean you were inside for 300 years?
Yeah, I thought we thought
Yes.
that's what happened.
It sounds crazy, I know. But don't even ask me why I stayed asleep all that time.
Magic
That's
deck.
definitely quite some lie-in, all right.
Yeah, so then he laid in there for
Whether you
300
want to or
years
not.
until it
I sure am glad that it's this century that you finally
just
woke
let him
up.
out for some reason.
What do you mean?
With the amount
He
of
couldn't
fighting
remember his
we've done,
past.
We would have never made it this far without you. And not only that, but
Because the
Alfred.
mask will be on him at that point.
can you recall back to what it is that I said to you? Back when we left
And then he
Menancia?
left the ship,
About the dream
wandered
of
his way
coexistence
through a
and
volcano
needing to learn what it
until he
entailed?
got to then through the mines.
Of course. That's why you came with us, right? To learn what
Until he
you
eventually got found and enslaved.
Even in that time, I was well aware that what I was living was a lie. But at the same time, I also felt really compelled to fulfill my
But he
brother's
didn't remember
wishes.
any of that.
I'll always remember him
that's
fondly. But
a
the
weird setup
coexistence
game.
we're fighting for isn't for him. It's for people now, and those still to come. The world's bigger than just Menancia. My dream is for all Danans, wherever they might be, to be free. If I've learned anything on this journey, it's that. And the one who brought me along was you, Alphen. I'll forever be grateful to you.
Well, we're not out of this forest just yet. You should probably save your thanks. At least, until we've dealt with the Red Woman.
I know. But whatever we find when we get down there, I'm through looking the other way.
Kisara.
Probably getting a little ahead of myself, huh? Let's take things one step at a time.
A little bit. That's okay.
I need something to eat.
Yeah. I thought we passed the kitchen thing. But I guess not. We didn't familiarize ourselves with the place at all.
We'll soon be making preparations to land.
Before we do that, just what exactly should we expect when we get down there?
Kisara has a point. Now that I think of it...
If only we'd thought about these things while we were waiting for the ship to
I'd like to hear more too.
power up.
It's been centuries since I was last there, and they didn't exactly give me the grand tour.
Very well. First and foremost, Lenegis was the base of operations in charge of the crown contest on Dana. Of course, it also happens to be a city in its own right, complete with its own independent society. Its social structure is based on a strict hierarchy.
Of who has the most magic?
The strength of an individual's astral arts carries great weight.
Yeah. Who's the strongest wizard?
Enough to determine someone's social rank, you mean? But astral arts are innate, right? So people's positions are fixed at birth.
They can be honed with the right training, and there are admittedly other factors at play. But yes, that's basically the gist. As a result, family lines that churn out lords and their contenders wield disproportionate influence, and those lineages are treated as nobility.
Those capable of only weak astral arts are effectively an underclass, denied the right to descend to Dana even if they wanted to. Still, even the lowest rung on the Renan ladder is considered superior to being a Danan. Keep that in mind down there.
Thanks for the warning. As a lord, Dohalim must have been pretty high up in the pecking order, right? What about you, Shion?
Come on, you've seen her skill with astral arts. You really
Well,
need to ask?
I thought we... Well, I guess she probably didn't tell about her backstory to...
On arts alone,
them.
you're right. I'd have been sitting pretty.
Yeah.
But you're forgetting my thorns.
I was about to
They
say,
weren't
yeah.
exactly an invitation to
Thorns
high
are a complicating
society.
factor.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's refreshing to be around someone who says what they're thinking. Life's less complicated that way.
That's a
Jeez.
polite... Yeah.
Backhanded compliments much?
Yeah.
Wait a second. Are you? He is! Law's blushing!
I am not!
Why are we picking on Law?
Of course, separating people into castes based on something arbitrary like arts is discrimination at its
I
worst.
mean... Yes.
As if such simplistic criteria could ever be a measure of someone's worth.
So this Red Woman, are we expecting to find her on Lenegis?
I would wager so. Lenegis is too deeply involved in all this to discard the possibility. Chances are she's also connected to the Renis Alma being stolen from us in Pelagian.
I feel like
The
it's,
Renis Alma is being used to exploit Dana. We need to take it back at all costs.
That Red Woman's got a lot to answer for.
How
Just
to
as well
phrase
I've got
this
a ton
right.
of questions.
Okay, so this game's touching on the whole slavery stuff and all those sorts of things.
We're about to land.
And,
The
you know,
descent will be a
casts
little
and
bumpy,
it's
so
bad and
brace
all that sort of
yourselves.
stuff. But, like,
If there are clues about your thorns out there, Shion, we'll find them.
these magical powers they have are not the same kind of thing as the mundane differences that lie between people, right? Like, you know, some people are born and they grow a little bit taller. Feed them right, they're just going to be a little bit stronger, yada, yada, yada. But the scope of that compared to the scope of, like, magic and all that, the power that brings into play is... It's not the same, I don't feel.
I wasn't expecting a welcome, Matt, but still.
Lenegis's infrastructure is largely automated. Besides, people won't be expecting incoming traffic while the crown contest is still underway.
Alright, well.
Do you think anyone realizes that we're here?
We may not have received a royal welcome, but I doubt our entrance went unnoticed. Don't let your guard down.
I really hope we don't have to fight anybody while we're here.
Oh, you're definitely going to have to.
So now what? We've come all this way on a hunch that this red woman is here, right? And if we're lucky, the Renis Alma too. Any idea where we should start looking?
There is an area of the city that is accessible only to the sovereigns, known as the Forbidden Zone. That seems
That's that's a pretty good place to start. The Forbidden Zone.
What are they hiding?
Who knows?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Hence my
it's
desire
forbidden.
to find out. Fortunately, we just so happen to have a sovereign in our midst. In any case, changing the shape of a huge structure such as Lenegis would have required an immense source of power.
And you think that source might have been the Renis Alma?
Precisely. Alphen said that he remembered the Renis Alma being used in the spirit channeling ceremony 3 centuries ago. Whatever the ceremony's purpose, if preparations are underway for it to be held once more, then the Renis Alma might be in the same place as last time, possibly together with the Red Woman.
Ah, mystery Red Woman.
Hiding something of that worth in the residential quarters would only court trouble. In which case...
It stands to reason we should be looking somewhere normally out of bounds.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Indeed.
It's a good thought. Unless you know about the command, like there's a command sector.
Years since I was made a sovereign. You can't seriously think I'll be able to waltz right into the place after all this time.
There's only one way to find out. If there's even a chance you can get us in, I say we give it a shot.
Shion's right. Who knows? We might even find a clue to her thorns while we're at it.
All right. It's not like we're swimming in leads, so let's try to track down the Forbidden Zone.
We're gonna take...
Beyond that wall lies a city full of Renins. The capital city where Shion and Dohalim used to live, no
My
less.
land. Oh, okay.
Who knows what we'll find on the other side.
Thinking about what could be lurking out here is giving me the heebie-jeebies.
For such a loudmouth, you sure can be a worrywart at times.
I know, it's a weird trait of his.
I'm sorry. How stupid of me for wanting us to stay safe.
Would you two children stop squabbling? Or do you want everyone to know
And he's
we're
simultaneously, I want to fight everyone. Let's charge on in. Also, simultaneously, he's the guy who's like,
how many
I'm
Renins actually
worried.
live in this place?
I couldn't tell you exactly, though not as many as you might expect. Machines and Zeugles take care of most of the city's basic functions.
There's Zeugles out here too, huh? Sounds like we can't afford to let our guard down after all.
Alright, we'll take our break here. And I guess it's nice that I can head back if I need to. So for now, we're just gonna save. Thank you for watching. Share your thoughts and comments down below as we move out of Fantasyland and into Technoland. If you're feeling generous, of course, you can always drop me a buck on Patreon or anything, or follow me on Twitter. I'll talk to you later.